Hello and welcome back. This is Candace from Candoodle, and I'm so excited that you stopped by today. I'm super excited to be collaborating with the one and only Carrie Rhoades. I originally messaged her over on Instagram and she suggested collaborating, which I was super honored about. We decided that we were going to use our favorite Lawn Fawn stamp sets, and we are originally going to use each other's favorites to make a card, with her favorite being the Car Critters and add-on and mine being Mermaid for You. And then Carrie suggested, what if we both made cards using all three of these stamp sets, which I loved. So that is what we're going to do here today. And I've inserted a picture so you can see where we're headed with this. So I'm just starting out with some of my 110-pound cardstock, and I'm cutting that at 7 1/4, and then I'm going to score it at 3 5/8 for this to be a slimline card. And I did want to just show that you can use your mini scoring board to score slimline cards. I am now laying out all of my little elements that are going to make my scene. So these are a variety of die cuts. So I have Your Next Stamp Snowy Mountains edge die, which I cut from just some plain white cardstock. I also cut the Lawn Fawn Slimline Stitched Hillside Borders from shimmer white cardstock, as well as black cardstock, because we were going to cut some roads into those to make those look like hills with roads on them. And then I used some stitched wave borders from Lawn Fawn to cut out my little ocean scene for the bottom. I cut all of those down to be 3 5/8 to fit on the card and laid them out where I wanted them. And then I'm going to draw in those little roads where I think they're going to look best. And I was really careful to try and make it so the car from the critter set would fit nicely on that road, but the road not take up too much space. So I was fiddling around with those for quite a bit until I got them down to the size that I wanted, because I didn't want them to be too big and overpower the hilly snow area. So once I'm happy with how those are looking, which took a bit of time, I am going to glue those down just with some art glitter glue. And then we are going to move on to assembling the card. And you can see I am also trimming off some of the extra bulk on that bottom road, just so I didn't have so many pieces of paper lined up. Next, we are going to do some ink blending. So I have Blueprint Sketch, Chip Sapphire, and Black Soot, and I'm just going to ink blend a little piece that's going to go behind our mountains to form a winter night sky. So I'm kind of doing a radial pattern, so there's some light coming from the center and then it fades out to darker. And I'm going to take my distress sprayer and some paper towel to just add some stars to the night sky. I heat set that off camera before I moved on to putting some Lawn Fawn liquid stardust on a piece of acetate and just watering it down a little bit. And then I'm just flicking my paintbrush with my finger to add some stars to that background. Next, I am going to take some Simon Says Stamp Fog ink, and this is a super light gray ink, and I'm just going to come in with my Tailored Expressions blending brush and add some light gray to those mountains. Next, we're going to do the underwater scenes. So I have Salty Ocean, Mermaid Lagoon, and Broken China Distress Oxide inks, and we're just going to blend some of those waves. I only need to blend towards the top of the second wave because that's all that's going to be showing. And once I was happy with that, I'm going to move on to the waves that are going to be in the front and hold our beach scene. So I started just by going in a straight line, and then I realized I didn't love that and I kind of wanted the same radial pattern of the sky. So I just brought down some Broken China down the sides to help make it more radial. Then I'm going in with my distress sprayer and paper towel, and then those are done. So now we are going to move on to assembly. So I am just using my ATG to tape down that night sky because it did have some warping from when I heat set it. And I'm also going to use that to adhere my waves to each other. Next up, I am just lining everything up on the card to make sure that my placement is good and my car will fit without covering too much of the mountains. And then I am going to stick things where I would like them. So what you can see me do here is once I line it up and I'm happy with where it is, I just move it down a tiny bit and then put a pencil line. That way when I put my glue on the back, I can line it up right with the pencil line and shift it up just a tad, because that this art glitter glue allows you to kind of move things around a bit before it dries. That way my pencil line is covered and I know I'm going to get perfect placement. So next we are going to move on to some stamping. I just have some various critters from Mermaid for Each Other, Car Critters, the Christmas add-on, You Are Sublime, and Christmas Fishes, all Lawn Fawn sets, and I stamped those in amalgam ink because we are going to do some Copic coloring. So there is a whole lot of Copic coloring involved in this card. I do usually like to show my coloring so I can show what colors I used because that's something that I struggled with when I was first starting out. Because I don't want this video to be a million years long, I did cut out some little bits, but I tried to keep in a small portion of each of the things I colored. That way I could still list what colors I used along the top. And as always, I'm going from lightest back to darkest and darkest back out to the lightest. So while I'm coloring, I did want to talk a bit more about this collaboration. I'm super honored that Carrie was willing to collaborate with me. She is so wonderful and warm, and I'm so lucky to have crafty friends like her, especially those who are willing to help out younger crafters who are just starting out. Carrie is a full-time crafter and stay-at-home mom who has 2 daughters. I'm also one of 2 daughters, so that's really nice. She started crafting over 20 years ago, so she's been crafting almost as long as I've been alive. I'm only 25, so I thought that was really special. She's taught classes, demonstrated, and blogged, and of course her awesome YouTube videos, which I am a longtime watcher of. She is so kind and encouraging, and she really tries to show people that you can be artistic through paper crafting, which is something that I think is really important. Paper crafting has brought so much joy into my life, and I'm so happy that there are wonderful people out there who are so willing to teach and share their knowledge. I think that's so wonderful, and if I can help give that back to anybody else, I am super happy about that too. So if you found me through Carrie, hello and welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. I am hoping that you'll stick around to see what else I have to offer. I'm always happy to hear suggestions in the comments. If you want to know a bit more about me, my name is Candace. I'm 25 and live in Canada. I have been a student for most of my life. I did my undergrad in mental health and neuroscience, and I just finished my master's of public health during this pandemic. So that's been very interesting to say the least. I currently work as a research analyst and on a helpline for mental health, but I have applied to go back to school in hopes of achieving my lifelong dream of being a doctor specializing in mental health. So that's just a bit more about me, and again, I'm so happy that you're here and have stumbled upon my crafty corner of the internet. And of course, I will have all of Carrie's links down below in the description box. Alrighty, so moving back to the card, I am just going to arrange all of my little critters that I have now die cut out with the coordinating dies, just to see where I like things. I had arranged the ocean scene, but I wanted to see how it was going to look with the car up top first. So I did take the antlers and some of the other little pieces from the add-on and glued those down to my car. I am using my art glitter glue for all of this. I love this glue. It's something that I've purchased relatively recently and has been my new go-to favorite as far as glues. So I just got my car all done up and stuck it up top to see how things would look. I decided that I didn't love the tree in the center of the ocean scene. I would rather the characters both be on the same side. So I just cut one of the rocks down so the mermaid would have more room. And before I move on any further, I noticed I had forgotten to cut out the snowy caps for my mountains, so I just die cut those out of some shimmer white cardstock and added those to the top. Then I'm going to pop up the top of my car with some foam tape and glue the bottom just so it sits flat, because there were a little bit more layers of paper where the Rhoades were, and I wanted that to sit flush on the card. So once I was happy with that, I am going to move on to gluing everything down on my ocean scene. I absolutely love these little mermaids, and I usually color their tails like in teal colors, but I really went all out with the red and green theme of this card to make it more Christmassy, which is a little out of my comfort zone, but I think it did turn out better than I was expecting. Now it is time to add some finishing touches, so I'm just coming in with my white gel pen to add some highlights to the card. I'm still not super comfortable doing this, but I absolutely love seeing how other people do this on their cards, so I am trying to get a bit more comfortable. I also realized I was completely missing a sentiment, so I did white heat emboss a sentiment from the Christmas Fishes stamp set and added that to the top. And then I'm coming in with some Nellie's Choice Effect Snow. This is a bit of a texture sort of medium, and it looks exactly like snow. So I added that to the top of my mountains to give some dimension, and that is how the final card turned out. Thank you so much to Carrie for collaborating with me. I had so much fun making this card, and I can't wait to head on over to her channel and see what she made using these stamp sets. She is seriously a card making genius. I will have her channel and her video, as well as all of that goodness, linked down below, as well as the products that I use for this card. Thank you so much for being here and watching today's video. It seriously means the world to me. I would love it if you subscribed and stuck around. I always love to hear from you all in the comments, and you can always message me over on Instagram at Candoodle Creations. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!